Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and it is time for more Scuttlebutt. Today's game in the background brought to you by Tier VIII European tech tree destroyer, Öland. Now, Öland is one of these ships that I've kind of flipped my opinion on. When we were testing this ship, I found Tier VII's Scunya to be kind of tolerable, and I really did not like Öland. Now that I'm playing the line on live, though, that has completely flip-flopped. I have grinding through Scunya. I couldn't wait to be done with that ship. And playing Öland more on live, I've found her to be really solid. I've really enjoyed this ship. At first glance, she's not a huge upgrade from Scunya at Tier 7. She has the same number of guns, the same number of torps. She has essentially identical handling with the same top speed, same turning circle, and more or less the same rudder shift. There's a small difference, but it's very small. However, things get a little better. She does have more health, of course. Her gun reload is quite a bit faster. She gets more AA, and she gets access to the defensive fire consumable. Her torpedoes are a little weird. They reload slower, but they do hit harder, despite having the same range and same speed. So, a little bit of a trade-off there. I've actually found these torpedoes more usable than Scunya for whatever reason. And I think it's because that extra punch means that if you can land a couple, you're actually, you feel like you've done something. She up-tiers way better than Scunya ever did because of the concealment module she gets access to at Tier VIII. Her base detection is really, really competitive. This is just a solid all-around little ship. She has the same strengths and flaws that the rest of the line does. She has good concealment, really good AA. She's an excellent spotter. She melts under concentrated fire. But she's really good for independent operations. Because of the heal, because of the AA, she can break off. She doesn't have to play near her teammates. And she can be useful. The more I play these ships, the more I think we're going to find the European destroyer line with the introduction of submarines, and more about that later. The European destroyers are going to be some of the best. These Swedish destroyers are going to be some of the best sub-hunters in the game. We'll find out, of course, but that's where I think this is all going to land. But anyway, enjoy the game. What's going on in shooty boats? Well, regular weekly plug for the NA Forum contest. The real world may be on hold, but the Warships world continues to grind on. The regular NA Forum contests have continued, despite all of the NA community staff working out of their houses. So drop by, sign up for the forums, log in, post your screen caps, win some free camos, and maybe a shot at some valuable premium time, which remains the best way you can spend money in this game. About 6 weeks ago, I want to talk real briefly about this. About 6 weeks ago, I noted that the old NA community manager or community position, whatever you want to call it, that used to belong to Femininely was open for applications. I went back and checked earlier this week. It's closed. Like, that job has disappeared off the website. So that tells me that hopefully they're in the process of reviewing applications and having interviews and so on and so forth. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll see some news on that in the near term. No, I don't know anything. This is pure speculation. But the fact that the job's been removed from the website tells me that they're at least moving forward with interviews and so on and so forth with the applicants they have. So, hopefully, before summer, before too much longer, we'll see a new face on the NA community team. Hasn't been a lot to talk about with Anchor's Way, of course. The entire tour is still on hold while the world tries to figure out what the hell everybody's next move is. March's event at USS North Carolina, April's stop at USS New Jersey, and May's dates aboard USS Turner Joy were all postponed a number of weeks ago. But with 1 May right around the corner, I'll be very much surprised if we don't see June and July postponed as well, especially since June's stop is supposed to be aboard USS Intrepid in New York City. For those of you who may not know, New York City is literally the hottest spot in America for COVID-19 infections. A number of U.S. airlines aren't even offering flights in and out of New York right now. So it's hard to imagine a scenario where they're ready to accept visitors in 7 or 8 weeks. Now, July's stop on the tour is aboard USS Wisconsin in Norfolk, Virginia. I think that one has a much better chance of going forward, both due to location and due to the fact that it's got an additional 4 weeks. It's kind of in late July. So you got about 3 months from now, right? And I feel like by then things may be in a better position. But we'll see. I mean, it's up to Wargaming what they want to do, and the venues themselves will have to judge for themselves whether or not they want to open and host events. What else is going on? Update 9.4 is in testing. I have been incredibly lazy. I have not been over to PTS on 9.4 to test out submarines. One of the things Wargaming has said they were going to do with submarines that they didn't do with carriers. One of the lessons they learned of how one of the errors that they made rolling out the carrier rework was that they didn't roll it out to the live server for players to like mess around with in an alternate game mode prior to releasing the changes. They're not making this mistake with submarines. And so right now on 9.4 on the public test server, for the last 2 weekends, you've been able to go in, download the patch, and play around in this submarine testing mode, this special mode they have just for testing submarines. Like I said, I haven't tried this because I'm lazy. The videos that I've seen and the folks that I've heard talk about, the conversations I've had, it looks interesting. It feels like some of the changes they made since the last iteration are good. They're very obviously not quite there yet. I've seen a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback going back to the devs from the CCs that have been over there. I'm sure a variety of other people, and I'm sure some of the super testers have been over there to mess around with it. So I'm glad to see the process is going forward. I really look forward to testing this on live. If I understand this correctly, 9.4 will come to the live server with this alternate mode for submarines and submarine data gathering. So they're going to throw it out there on live server and say, hey, you want to go mess around with this? Jump into this alternate game mode and try it out. And I basically, at this point, have kind of resigned myself that I'm just going to wait and do it then. Because most of the feedback I've seen have said that the PTS testing feels imperfect, suboptimal, or whatever word you want to use, because of all the bots, right? You just can't get a critical mass of people, real live players on the public test server in order to fill up these games, and so some of these games are half bots. And if you guys play co-op, you know that the bot AI is essentially charge forward until dead, and it's not realistic. That's not how humans play. So it's hard to get, I think, a real good sense of how these are going to interact. The submarines are going to interact with real humans right now. So when this comes to live, I will definitely put some time into it. We'll pop onto stream and make that happen. Of course, also coming in 9.4 is the pre-release of the Soviet cruiser split. Now, it's important to realize, if I'm reading all the patch notes correctly, the pre-release events, the data, the giveaways and everything only impact the new ships that are a part of the split, and that's Tier 8's Talon, Tier 9's Riga, and Tier 10's Petropavlovsk. The new Tier 10 cruiser that is replacing Moskva, that's the Alexander Nevsky, will be here in 9.5, but she is not. You're going to have to unlock that ship the old-fashioned way. So if you have a Dmitry Donskoy, or you're working on getting one, you've still got probably about 5 or 6 weeks to unlock Moskva. If you've unlocked Moskva at any point before 9.5, you'll get the new special Moskva for free once she arrives. Whether you actually buy Moskva or not is irrelevant. What they've said is you have to have spent the XP to unlock the ship. So if you've ever unlocked Moskva, you'll get awarded the new one. And then if you have enough XP saved up on your Donskoy already, which should be it'll probably be about 220, 230,000 XP, somewhere in that range is typical of a Tier 10 ship, you can just go ahead and buy the new Alexander Nevsky, literally on patch day. And I've been playing my Donskoy a little bit just to kind of build up some XP and kind of be moving in that direction. I really like Nevsky. The testing, there's a couple of test games here on the channel. Maybe I'll throw a link to one up here in a card if you want to go check it out. I really like Nevsky. I feel like she's in a really good place. They've made some minor tweaks to her, but nothing major, and I don't think she needs it. Talin, Riga, and Petropavlovsk are still undergoing testing. Riga, in particular, I think right now has a really irritating bug with her turrets, where they get knocked out by even the smallest HE explosions. So there is obviously still some work left to be doing on those ships, but they've got some time to get it hammered out. So that'll be good. One thing else, other changes coming in 9.4: free premium consumables for everyone. That's right, this is finally coming now. They announced this a while ago, and it is slated for the next patch. Now, this is something that was originally discussed last summer when we were in St. Petersburg in relation to the now abandoned NTC concept, right? The free premium consumables were supposed to be part of that, because now you're going to be spending your money on regrinding ships. They didn't want people spending money on consumables. I'm not entirely positive what's driving this right now. I'm happy to speculate. In my opinion, what we're seeing now is that basically, now that we're almost a year-ish past the NTC announcement, they've kind of gone around this backdoor way to get a lot of the NTC sort of concepts into the game. but they spread them out, right? Like the Research Bureau, which is what the NTC became, was originally going to be, oh, it was all these alternate ships. You didn't have to regrind for them. You can go get them if you want. Okay, fine. Now we're seeing premium consumables come to the game. For everybody, okay? That was originally something that was sold to us as part of the NTC. It's a great quality of life thing. It blows my mind there's still a lot of people that don't use these, but they're coming for everybody, so that's great. But you've also like the latest one, of course, is all of the unique upgrades are now in the Research Bureau for research points, and they're pretty expensive, right? They're about 20,000 research points per upgrade, which just seems crazy unless we're going to start offering new and better ways to grind out research points or bonus weekends or bonus patches or something where we can get these things faster. Right now, that doesn't feel so terrible because there are very few of the unique upgrades that are really worth it. But we know that sometime over the summer, and I think it's actually 9.5 is what they've said, the unique upgrades are getting a major overhaul. And they're all going to get reworked, and some of the carrier ones are supposed to come back, and we're supposed to get them for all the Tier 10 tech tree ships that don't have them yet. Things that have released in the last couple of years, like Goliath and Kleber, that don't have these upgrades, they're supposed to get them. And so now we're at a point where everybody's complaint about the NTC was, oh, don't make me mandatory grind to keep up the power level of my ship. Okay, that's fair. I don't disagree with this. But now we've kind of gone all the way around, and now we're making people regrind to buff the power level of their Tier 10 ship. But are they necessary? We don't know yet, right? Some of the current unique upgrades kind of are. They feel that way. They feel necessary. But after this rework, how many of them will or won't? That's the real interesting question that we just don't have an answer to yet. And I'm a little concerned that this is going to be another debacle when it drops. We'll see. I really hope not. I really hope they've learned some hard lessons over the last year between Puerto Rico and how the NTC announcement was handled. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to see. 9.4 also has some map changes in it. They're making some changes to loop, and they're getting more dynamic lighting in some of the maps, which is awesome. The new map lighting is just amazing when you see it. You can absolutely tell the difference between the maps that have it and the maps that don't. So that's really awesome. Dev blogs. The biggest dev blog news is that after all of these years, there's finally now a single focal wargaming-owned and operated site for all devblock news. No more posting things to medium.com one week and Reddit the next. Now everything goes in one place, and it's simple, guys. It's just blog.worldofwarships.com. I'll put a link down below for you. Super easy. The relevant posts for the week are, of course, a couple of rounds of changes to some test ships. Mostly, this is about getting the new Soviet cruisers kind of tweaked and in line with where they need to be. The biggest one on this list, in my opinion, is the changes they made to German cruiser Eger. This is the premium Tier 9 German cruiser that was originally built and launched into the game as like a secondary spec cruiser. She could have like 11.5, 12 kilometer secondaries. The concept was not working. Eger initially... I kind of went through, like, a number of CCs, I kind of went through some ups and downs with this ship. Like, I really liked her, and then I really didn't, and I was like, she's okay, and then she kind of wasn't. She's kind of gone all over the board at this point. And now what they've done is they've basically pulled the secondary range back down so it's much smaller. They've buffed her Sigma and her range back. They've tried to basically take her out of this brawling cruiser role, because she wasn't fit for it. She didn't have the armor for it. And yes, she has the torpedoes, great, but she just doesn't have the armor to hold up to get in to deliver them. So now they're basically trying to turn her more into kind of a long range, battle cruiser kind of ship, more like probably more a little on the lines of Azuma. Better armored than Azuma, but I won't say she's radically better armored than Azuma. Anyway, so Eger's getting some changes. Those are the biggest changes there. Although I will say that some of the other tweaks they're making are all kind of happening on the internal testing side. They've announced changes to the German aircraft carriers, but those aren't even on the live. Those aren't even in super test yet. Like, those are all going through internal testing right now. And of course, they're still messing around with some of the shell ballistics on some of the ships that are being tested, like Riga we talked about earlier, and then Tier 10 Japanese battleship Shikishima, which is like this super Yamato with the 20-inch guns. They're still messing around with how those shells work. The other one is the monthly balance changes, right? For the last couple of patches, they've basically been looking over their data, looking over their numbers internally, and starting to make small incremental changes to a variety of ships based on that data. And so we're starting to see that now, and that's what this is, right? There's some small nerfs in here to Jutland and Daring, which have previously received small nerfs. They're continuing to nerf them a little bit at a time. Small buff to Tier 5 British cruiser Hawkins. That's kind of nice. They're giving Tier 5 German destroyer T-22. They're giving it hydroacoustic search. It's kind of nice. They're also doing the same thing to the stock hull of Tier 6 German destroyer Ernst Gade, which is nice. So a little bit of buff there for the mid-tier German destroyers. They probably need a little bit of love. One of the things that I haven't quite figured out yet, they're basically now saying that defensive AA fire can now be mounted on any hull of all the American destroyers from Nicholas up through Fletcher. So that's Tier 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But if they do that, I now have to wonder, I'm going to have to spend a little time with this, what's kind of the point of the sea hull, right? For Mahan and Benson and Farragut in particular, the sea hull was where you dropped a turret and got defensive fire. But now if I can get back to my main, my 5 or whatever, that extra main battery gun, and defensive fire, why would I play the sea hull? I gotta think. I gotta look at how this works. I think there's a difference in there between how the dual purpose guns work and where they line up. So I'll check into that as time goes on and we get closer to the patch. But I think that's where we're at. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's kind of all the real news here. I've had a couple people kind of ask how I'm doing. You're stuck at home. Things are going okay. I've got a couple of projects to be working on. I'm actually working more than 40s at the moment out of my house just because I'm kind of in demand on a couple of projects and I don't have time to cover them all in a regular week. That's good, but it does mean that I had to cancel a stream last week for work purposes, and that probably won't be the last time that happens over the next couple of months. We'll have to see how it goes. But other than that, we're holding up okay. I'm fortunate to have a job that I can work from home and keep doing what I do. I really hope that lasts. For those of you who don't know, I work in oil and gas, and not exactly the most stable commodity at the moment, so we'll have to see. But I probably am okay through the end of the year, and then after that, we'll just have to see how some of these projects that I'm working on continue forward with whatever kind of capital expenditures these various clients decide they want to keep up with. So, but for the moment, things are going okay. I hope everybody out there is being safe, taking care of themselves, their family, washing their hands, and all that sort of thing. You guys take care of you, okay? That's it. Let's call it a game, call it a video, and I'll see you guys around the channel. Got some stuff coming this week. Probably a few less quick cuts and a few more other things this week, just because of missing that stream last week. But we'll make it work. Anyway, guys, be safe out there. Wash your hands, and I'll catch you next time.